Little Nightmares 3 is due to release on the 10th of October 2025. I loved the first game, never played the second, so I thought now is the perfect time to dive in and earn the Platinum Trophy. Leave a comment down below if you're looking forward to the third game or what your thoughts are of the previous two games. The trophy guide gives Little Nightmares 2 a 3 out of 10, takes around 6 hours and is a pretty simple experience, just completing the game, collecting collectibles and the miscellaneous trophies. To start off this adventure, we began a brand new game and was immediately placed into this creepy forest, which is the first of many creepy environments in this game. We were also introduced to Mono, who is a brand new protagonist for this game and was never in the first game. Shortly after, our first trophy unlocked, called What's in the Box.
What's in the box?
For opening this fridge. And then we met our companion for this game, Six, who was actually the protagonist of the first game. Shortly after meeting Six, the next trophy, Fair Prey, unlocked for shooting the hunter with the coonskin hat equipped. Just before the end of chapter 1, I earned the trophy Wild Kids for getting all collectibles in the chapter, and straight after that I got the Forage trophy for completing the first chapter of the game. The first trophy in chapter 2 was called Referee and tasked me with equipping this hat and walking through the goalposts. Fly Free made me pick up this paper aeroplane and throw it out the window. However, as you can see, I failed and somehow got it stuck right on the window frame, and I had to completely reload the checkpoint to get it. Next in chapter 2, I actually found the first part of the game that actually made me jump. I then progressed through the school, avoiding a variety of traps like this one, where the game gives you a helpful hint of a rubber duck when you need to duck. As I progressed through chapter 2, I eventually reached a point where Six was captured by the bullies, so I had to begin my journey to save them, and I got my first taste of this game's combat. I then earned the Bully of Bullies trophy for defeating 3 enemies at one time by knocking this cabinet over, which unfortunately caused me to crush myself in the process. I was then hunted by a school teacher who looked for me in the most crazy, unnecessary way possible. The next trophy was Merciful Feet for getting past this tied up enemy without causing harm to them. After quite a long time of mostly just evading the teacher enemy, we eventually reunite with Six and grab our next trophy, Monotones, for playing music on this piano. We continue to evade the teacher with the longest neck I've ever seen, all the way until we got the School Kids trophy for getting all the collectibles in chapter 2, quickly followed by 2 other trophies, True Colours for watching Six pick up their signature yellow jacket from the first game, and Schooled for completing chapter 2. We then began chapter 3, and what I consider to be the scariest chapter of this game, and we are even given a flashlight to navigate a far darker chapter than the previous ones. Not too long after we begin this chapter, we get our first trophy, Hunger, for emptying out the vending machine, and a flurry of quicker trophies also followed. Ex-Best Friends had us entering the X-ray machine and holding hands, Half Hats for collecting half of the hat collectibles in the game, and finally Toys Are for Kids for incinerating a teddy bear. We were then chased by a hand so strong it rivaled my right hand from when I was 15 years old. This hand also became our first boss fight of the game, and once defeated, if you keep hitting it, the Stay Dead trophy will be earned. We then returned back to the incinerator where we burned the teddy bear for the Popcorn trophy, which is earned for placing corn in the incinerator. Then we encounter these creepy mannequin-like enemies, which are probably the scariest things in this game, and the only way to stop them from moving is to point your light directly at them. Soon after escaping them, I earned Objection for throwing a block of cheese in this hole, and after getting the final collectible in chapter 3, I got the Sick Kids trophy. Medicine Ball unlocked for throwing this ball at the mannequin hands. Next trophy was First Do No Harm, whilst getting chased by this large monster through the morgue. Once you get him stuck in the incinerator from earlier, instead of turning it on, you must leave him alive. Straight after this, we got hospitalised for finishing chapter 3. Early into chapter 4, we're introduced to our new main monster enemy, who actually is the main antagonist of this game, and he chases us and captures 6. Soon after that though, the trophies begin popping. We got Pale Kids for getting all the glitched remains in chapter 4, and No More Remains for getting all glitched remains in the game. In the same room as a collectible was our next trophy, Unladylike for smashing the statue. Post-industrial unlocked for delivering this parcel to this hand in the wall. And at the end of chapter 4, we unlocked Paled for completing the chapter. Late on in chapter 5, we finally catch back up to 6, who has actually turned into one of the game's monsters, and begins to fight and attack Mono whenever he gets close enough. But eventually we destroyed the music box, and 6 returned back to his normal state. But unfortunately 6 wasn't quite normal, and he chooses to drop us at the last minute during our escape, and makes an escape for themselves, leaving Mono behind to grow old alone, and actually ends up becoming the game's main villain, in what seems to be some form of time loop. After that though, signal interruption is popped from completing the game, along with Far Ahead for collecting all the hats, as the final hat unlocks upon completion of the game. And with that comes the conclusion of the game, which genuinely was a very good game, and in my opinion better than the first, and leaves me excited for what's next in Little Nightmares 3. But the Platinum Hunt is not over. There are definitely a few more miscellaneous trophies that we can clean up through Chapter Select. So to begin the cleanup, I went all the way back to Chapter 1, and I went for the trophy Evasive Prey, where I had to make it to the house in Chapter 1 without being hit by any traps. That is this tripwire, this log, this net, these bear traps, this bear trap, more bear traps, and finally, you guessed it, more bear traps. Eventually though, we make it to the house, and the trophy Evasive Prey unlocks. Next, I loaded into Chapter 2, where we can actually get all 3 of the last trophies in this game. The first of which, I equipped this hat that you unlock for completing the game, and upon equipping it, you get the How Do I Look trophy. Next, we called 6 20 times for the 26 trophy. And finally, we stood and held hands for a total of 5 minutes for the Palm in My Hand trophy. And after that comes the Platinum trophy, Prime Time Content Consumer. And that concludes our trophy hunt for Little Nightmares 2. I would like to thank you all for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and please consider subscribing if you want to see more trophy hunting content on the channel. Leave a comment down below if you preferred Little Nightmares 1 or Little Nightmares 2 and why. And that'll be it for this video. Goodbye.